Hello. So today we're going to talk a little bit just about the basics of a Chromebook, right? A Chromebook is an accessible, easy to use, affordable laptop that can be a nice entry point for someone who either maybe can't afford a fancier laptop or doesn't need all that capability. There are a lot of different kinds of laptops available. They're all going to run what we call an operating system. The operating system is sort of like the code that tells a computer what to display to you and how you'll function, how you'll use this operating system to access the things that you need to access. There are a lot of different operating systems. Two of the most popular ones are Mac operating system, which comes on Apple computers, and Windows operating system. This is Chrome operating system. I'll say that a lot of it's pretty similar. Once you learn how to use one operating system, a lot of the things that you learn will help you navigate other operating systems if you're using a different computer at one point. But each of them looks a little bit different. So Chrome operating system is what Chromebooks run. And a Chromebook is where Google realized that there were a lot of people who needed access to an inexpensive way to access the internet, check their email, do videos, manage their calendar, some basic word processing, but they didn't need to pay for all the fancy capabilities of a more expensive laptop. So Chrome's operating system is what we're looking at now. This is called your desktop. You can save icons here, but right now this desktop is blank, it's empty. In this operating system, down here, these little images that I'm showing you are called icons. And an icon is an image that tells you what something is. And a lot of times icons will be buttons. And what I mean when I say an icon might be a button is that if you click on it, it's going to open a window, right? So I just clicked on this icon right here and it opened a window. So your computer is sort of like a virtual machine. Your computer is like a machine that has a lot of virtual machines on it. And what I mean by that is the computer actually has the hardware running right now. But each of these little apps is a program that functions like a little mini machine on your big machine. And what I mean by that is it's got its own code that when you open the app, it does different functions. Right? There can be different kinds of apps. Some apps are browsers, some are mail apps. They manage your mail. There's different categories of apps, right? So Google Chrome is a browser. There are several other different kinds of apps that are browsers. So depending on the app that you prefer, there might be multiple different ones you could choose that do basically the same thing. Let's see here. So a lot of this is going to be, super basic. Some of you already know this, but we're going to look a little bit at Google Chrome, right? So Google Chrome is a type of app called a browser. And a browser is an app that allows you to look at different websites and explore the internet. Google Chrome is the browser that Chromebooks use, right? So we're going to open Chrome. And when you open Chrome here, you see Google's homepage. So what you do with the browser, you can search, right? A lot of these open right up to search pages. You can search for different things that you might need to do with the internet. So for example, let's say we want to search for something. You can search a few different ways using Chrome. You can search here by you can search here by typing something in, right? Search for anything you want. And so let's search for something here. We're going to type a search for soup recipes, right? Here we go. We typed that in, we hit enter, and now we're looking at pages and pages of soup recipes. So each of these little web pages that it links to is a page that has a recipe for soups that was uploaded by someone. It's a web page created by someone. So you're accessing everybody's recipes for soups, right? So you can go ahead. We're going to practice here. You can, let's see, say you go and look for Let's see, what's a good one that's not going to have a payment? All recipes, soup recipes at all recipes. I click this, and now I've got a lot of options for soup recipes. And we scroll, right? We scroll to see which one we want. And you can scroll either using a scroll bar on your mouse, using your trackpad, or by clicking and dragging this bar. And what I mean by that is you click the bar, but you hold it down while you drag, right? Click it, hold it down while you move your mouse or trackpad to get it where you want. And then when you release the hold on the button, it will stop scrolling. So say you look at fresh tomato soup. We look at that, we get some ideas, we see what we're interested in here. We can read what it takes. One thing, if you don't know recipes online very well, is a lot of times they give you a big, long story. So just, feel free to scroll past the story to get to the information about the soup, the ingredients. So let's imagine you look and you're like, I don't know that this is the one I want. I'm just not sold on it yet. You can come back up here and click this button, right? This little icon has an arrow that points backwards. And when you click on that, it takes you back to the last page you were looking at, right? Let's say that we decide, wait, I did want to look at that tomato one. You can click the forward button, forward, and it takes you forward one page. You notice I can't go forward for here because I haven't clicked anything on this page to take me beyond that, but I can go back. And I scroll, and now I'm interested in this lentil soup. Looks good. I read it. I see what's in there. Maybe I decide I want to make it. Maybe I read the directions and think this isn't how I don't have time for this tonight. Well, I can always go back. So forward and back are two buttons you'll use a lot. So in addition to doing a search from the main page here, you can do a search in the actual address bar. So up here is an address bar. That's where you can type a website. But in Google Chrome, you can also search using the address bar. So I could even come up here and type soup recipes. And I've searched that in my search bar, right? And I'm getting the same results here, but I found it a different way. So again, back button. Forward and back buttons are very, very helpful. You can also sort your results using the categories of results they offer, such as shopping, images, videos, news, things like that. So we're going to practice with a few searches here. So let's say you want to buy something. Say we're going to buy a new printer and we want it to be affordable. Affordable printers, right? So now I've pulled up some results. And you'll notice when you first do the result, your first few are going to be ads, right? We have some ads up here. Those are people who have paid to have their results show up first. Anytime you see ads, those are people who have paid advertising money to turn up first, right? And so now what I'm finding is some articles about the best cheap and budget printers that are available. So maybe, and by the way, some of these results, if you see a news article about things that are the best printers, we reviewed the top printers, some of those are going to be advertising as well, just FYI. But we can go click and kind of learn pros and cons of different printers. We have some ideas, right? We can scroll down and it'll tell us a little bit about each one. So here's a printer. I scroll down and I learn a little more about that. This printer can do these things and it's missing these things. So that gives me some ideas, right? So I could read through several of these results, right? But let's say I just want to search and go straight to where I can buy them. Then I can come up here under this search bar and you'll see all, shopping, images, videos, and maps. I'm going to say shopping. And now all of my results that it's turning up take me somewhere I can actually purchase a printer, right? This is less of the information about affordable printers and more places you can go to buy a printer, right? So we can go look and see what comes up for us. Again, be thoughtful about some of these places that you see the store names. Do these look legitimate? Do I know who these stores are? Do they seem comparably priced to other stores? This can be really helpful because this gives you a place to sort of do comparisons of how much different stores charge for similar products. You could also just, for the record, if you come up here, we can click more. By the way, if you click on more, it brings up these extra choices. This is called a drop down. A drop down is where everything doesn't fit right in here, so maybe they give you choices to choose from. I could always change it and look for videos. And now, if I didn't want to read all of those reviews about best printers, I can find videos where they do reviews of them. And again, a lot of these, when you go to look on YouTube, a lot of these are places where people have paid to have someone review, or they've given them a free printer if they'll agree to review it, right? So be aware. We could also use this Google search, the search function to find pictures of things. Let's say that we want to know what something looks like. An example of that is I live in North Carolina, and there is sometimes a beautiful yellow bird that ends up in my backyard. So let's say I want to try to find out what this bird might be. Yellow bird, North Carolina. So there's some videos, because I'm still in the videos responses that give me ideas. But you can also go and just click on images up here, and that way it'll only show picture results, right? So we're scrolling through these. Actually, this is the one. This is what ends up in my backyard a lot. So maybe I want to know what this is. So I click on it to go and see if it's got any results that'll tell me. Where are my pictures? So I'm going to scroll. Aha, that is not it. I do get cardinals in my yard a lot. Why did I skip one? Carolina wren, I get those too, but that's not the one we're looking for. Let's see what we've got here. This is not the one. This is not the one. I'm just scrolling till I find the one I'm looking for. I'm seeing a lot of them that are familiar that I know I either see or hear. See what we've got. That's the one. It's an American goldfinch. So I was just able to use Google image search to identify a bird that I find in my backyard a lot, right? Let's say I want to use Google image search to find something like, to see what an oak tree looks like, or a maple tree, right? Say I'm not sure what a maple tree looks like. I could do a search. Again, if we go back to our main page where we started, let's take us all the way back. Okay, so I could do a search here for maple tree. Right, and so we've got some pictures here, but we've also got a lot of articles. Best maple trees for fall color, beautiful species, what you should know about caring for a maple tree. But I can come up here, let me close this window by clicking the X. That usually closes a thing that's in your way. I'm going to click on images. And now I've got pictures of different kinds of different maple trees. I've got images up close of what maple leaves might look like, right? I have pictures. It looks like they're a beautiful one in the fall, right? So lots of fall pictures of maple trees. And I can get an idea of what they look like, right? So that's another example where Google image search is helpful. Let's say we want to see something on the news. Right, we want to find news articles. So we're back here in the main window, the all up here. And let's say that I want to know what's going on in my local elections, and I live in Kansas City. So I could say Kansas City midterm elections. And so here I'm finding information from the Kansas City Election Board that might tell me where to go to vote and what to do, but it's not really telling me news about it. So I can go up here to these choices and I can click news. There we go. And now I've got some recent news. And again, it'll tell you down here how old it is. But I've got some recent news about the elections to see what's coming up in the upcoming elections. Right. So up here, we've already mentioned this is our browser, our address bar. Right. In addition to using it to search in Google Chrome, we can also enter websites. Enter someone's URL, which means that we type in where we want it to go. So I'm going to come up here in this address bar and type castla.org, right? When I hit enter, straight to CAST's website. And we're going to see a lot of information about CAST and what they do. They have a menu up here. I can click on different things to learn about their training and resources that are available. You know, there's a lot of good information there. But I could also, if I didn't know that their website was castla.org, I could also get here by searching CAST-LA. And let's see what that does. Ah, look at this. So I've now turned up the cast of some shows, right? It's showing it in the news. Let's go back to all and see what happens. Now we've got CAST as our top result. So that's another example where coming up here can be helpful, right? So I could still get to that website that way. I could also come up here in the address bar and put National Survivor Network.org. And here we go. Here's the NSN's website, and we can learn a lot about what we're doing. We can learn about membership. We can learn about our consultants bureau and what our expectations are for consultants in our network. But again, if I didn't know that was our website, I could just search. And there we go. And I would have found it anyway. Same thing, Survivor Alliance, which has great information for survivors who are wanting network, community, and possibly leadership. You can go to their website, hit enter, and up here again we have a menu where you can either click on the thing itself or you can click on one of their drop-down options. So leadership resources, if you're wanting to be connected in survivor leadership in the anti-trafficking movement. This is something you can do. So sometimes you're going to do a search and the results are not going to be what you were expecting. So let's say that I go search for my sister's house. There's a lot of different my sister's house. It looks like that's a pretty common name for nonprofits. It looks like there's something else here about it. So we're not really sure which one we're looking for. We can put something into quotes and maybe add extra information. My sister's house, and what we mean by putting quotes around it is we don't want results for sisters that don't say my sister's house. We're not interested in relationships between sisters. We're not interested in famous sisters. We're specifically looking for the exact phrase, my sister's house. And let's say that we are looking not just for anything that says my sister's house, but for a specific organization in California, right? We hit enter. And now we've pulled one up that is an organization in Sacramento, right? And so that's what we were trying to hone it down onto. And we could go there and do a search and find out more on their website about their resources. So again, these quotes, what putting quotes around a phrase means is that you're only looking for that phrase. You're not looking for any one of those words. We're not trying to buy a house. We're not trying to learn about sisters. We're looking for this specific phrase. That can sometimes be helpful if you hear a song you love and you don't know the title or artist, but you remember some of the lyrics. You can put those in here in quotes and it'll turn those up for you. That's what I use that for a lot. So we've reviewed up here in the top these forward and back buttons. Right, forward and back, we've talked about those, but this is called the refresh button or reload, right? So it looks like a little circle with an arrow. What refresh means is it's going to take whatever page you're looking at and just load it again. Refresh can be very helpful. Again, if I go and look up National Survivor Network, we're going to get to our website. Give us a second. It's taking a moment to load. Makes me wonder if my internet has gotten weird in the house. How about we try Survivor Alliance to see if that gets us there quickly. There we go. So we can use theirs. So let's say we've pulled their website up and there's something we want to see again. We're like, oh, this page didn't load right. Maybe, you know how sometimes when you have a bad connection for a few minutes, you go to a website and it only shows you the top half of the page and the last half is not showing, or it shows you all the text and the images haven't loaded. Sometimes if you go and do whatever you need to do, you get to where you have a better connection, you can just click refresh, and that's telling your browser, reload. Let's try reloading this page. It can also be useful to refresh if you are looking at a news page that's giving you minute-by-minute updates for your favorite game that's happening. If there's a sports game that you're into and you want to see if there's any change in the score, you can click refresh to pull that up quickly. So refresh is really good. Good thing to know how to do. Refresh is also good if your Wi-Fi goes out or your internet goes out. If you've ever had the thing where you go to load a page and instead of showing you the website, it shows you a screen that says you are not connected to the internet. Well, once you get your internet fixed, click refresh and that'll load the page you were on without going to a different page. So there's a thing in Chrome called tabs that you'll want to know how to do. If you click plus up here, do you see, this is a tab. Think of a tab like a file folder. Do you see how your window looks like you've got a file folder? If you've ever done filing, you have tabs that sort of go across and you can pull the tab forward that you want to get to the file folder you need. If you click plus, you'll create another tab, right? So I have a new tab open here. Now that I have this new tab open, I can go search for another survivor leadership thing. Let's say I search for Elevate Academy. They do a lot of survivor leadership training, so I can go to their webpage and I can take a look at what they've got going on at Elevate Academy, right? I can go look at the Survivor Alliance page without closing it. You can go between tabs. Sometimes that's useful. Sometimes when I'm working, I'll have my mail open in one tab, my calendar open in the next tab, and my docs, like where I'm typing letters and stuff, open in another tab. So you can have a tab for each of the websites that you might be kind of switching back and forth between. We can also, let's search here. Let's say we want to compare some things, right? So let's go back to our earlier example of soup recipes. We can, and you can close tabs, by the way. I don't know if you just saw what I did there. Let's see, Coalition to Abolish Slavery and Trafficking. I'm at their website. I don't need this tab anymore. I could come up here and instead of clicking the X on the window to close the browser, this will close Chrome altogether. I can just go click on this little X and close that tab, right? So I have some, again, we're going to do some more with tabs, a new way to open tabs. Let's say that I go look at these recipes and I want to decide which one, but I don't want to have to click back and forward over and over and have it reload each page. So I'm going to decide to open this recipe, but instead of left clicking it with my with the left click button, the main click button, which if you're holding your mouse in your right hand is under your pointer finger, I'm going to click with my right button on my mouse, which is under my middle finger in my right hand right now. So if you right click, it's going to pop up options for what you can do. And I can open it in a new window, but I think I'm going to open it in a new tab. Ta-da! I'm not even going to go, so that's here. I don't need to stay here yet, but that just made it open in a new tab. Butternut squash soup looks interesting. And so I'm going to open it in a new tab. Right click, click open in a new tab. So now I can go and look and see what are the ingredients and see how that compares to what I have available to me or in my pantry. How long does it take? Cook 5 hours on high or 8 on low, right? So there's the ingredients. I can go look at this one, butternut squash. I can scroll down and look at my ingredients here. And way fewer ingredients. And let's say I want to compare them. I want to see what's the same and what's different. One thing you can do with a tab is click on it. Remember, we click with your left pointer and hold it down. And while holding it down, drag it. And what happens is you just pulled this into its own window. And we're going to come over here. This can make it get smaller. This will make it get bigger if it's small. So I'm going to bring it back down. And I think I'm going to go to this window and I'm going to click this button too to bring it back down. So now I have two smaller windows and I can click and drag them, click, drag while holding, and I can get the two lists of ingredients side by side. So I can compare them and see what all I need. I can see, do either of these have ingredients I'm allergic to? So being able to look at your windows side by side can be helpful, right? And you can click and drag the windows. And again, I could pull this out into its own window, click, drag, and pull. Now let's say I want to put them back into one window together. I want to make it tabs again. Instead of new windows, I want tabs. Again, I can click, hold it, drag, and put it back. I can do that over here. Click, hold it, drag, and put it back. And they're all now back in tabs again. You can open a new window pretty easily that way. You could also, I believe, click here. These three dots, this is called, for some reason they call, anytime there's the little three dots, sometimes they call that a little hamburger menu. I don't know why, it's weird. But you can click new window straight from there and just open a new window to search and do what you want in. So the next class that we're gonna do, we're gonna dig into a little bit more with Google Chrome and learn a little bit more about how to manage some of these settings in your hamburger menu. And just sort of walk through those. And so thank you so much. I look forward to working with you again.